August 1998, then President Clinton orders a Tomahawk missile strike on an al-Qaeda training camp in Afghanistan in response to the bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Bin Laden manages to escape death, having reportedly left the camps just prior to the attack. December 2001, the U.S. bombards his reported mountain hideout in the Tora Bora region of Afghanistan. Rejoice turns to rejection when reports of Bin Laden's death prove to be false. November 2002, reports surfaced that Bin Laden is ravaged by kidney disease. However, a doctor who treated Bin Laden in the days following 9/11 discredits these claims. September 2006, Bin Laden's health once again takes front and center as a leaked French intelligence report claims Bin Laden died of typhoid in Pakistan. These claims are quickly refuted. May 1st, 2011, May Day, President Barack Obama announces to the world that a U.S. military operation in Pakistan has killed Osama bin Laden in an intense firefight.
Osama bin Laden, 6'4", rail thin, born in Saudi Arabia in 1957, one of 54 children. He had at least 8 aliases, allegedly 6 wives, and reportedly between 12 and 24 children. He was also the most wanted man in the world. He was hunted as the mastermind of the worst terrorist attack in U.S. history on September 11, 2001, responsible for nearly 3,000 Americans killed when his al-Qaeda network hijacked 4 planes, toppling the World Trade Center in New York, crashing into the Pentagon, and crash landing in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Before 2001, bin Laden's al-Qaeda was linked to 5 major attacks on U.S. interests overseas and at home, including the embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania, attacks which prompted President Bill Clinton to name bin Laden public enemy #1 and propelled him to the top spot on the FBI's most wanted list, along with a $25 million bounty. In the years after 9/11, bin Laden continued to taunt America, making 6 video and 20 audio statements, 9 since the beginning of 2009 alone. It all ended Sunday, 3,561 days since 9/11, when elite Navy SEALs took him out in less than 40 minutes at 3:50 p.m. in Abbottabad, Pakistan, only 35 miles from Islamabad. In the life of bin Laden, it was the U.S. who wrote the final chapter.
Details are surfacing about that superhuman force that took down bin Laden, the Navy SEALs known as Team 6, a force so elite you cannot apply to join their ranks, you are just silently recruited. These men who say they are trained to move in when others flee. And tonight, Chris Cuomo is here. He knows a lot about their world. Chris.
You know, Diane, as impressive as the details of the bin Laden operation are, you really start to appreciate how special these SEALs are when you learn that taking out bin Laden was just another day at the office.
The dogs of war were finally turned loose to do what they were designed to do.
Designed to be the best anywhere doing anything, whether sea, air, or land. That's what SEAL stands for.
It's a self-contained unit that can go any place in the world and literally do nothing but kick ass.
A superhero has nothing on these guys. Recruits are trained to swim 350 feet underwater with their hands and feet bound. They're taught to survive in Arctic conditions, even submerging in freezing water. They also have to endure exposure to tear gas. Only men ranging in age from 26 to 33 try out to become one of the 2,500 SEALs. Training takes 2 years. 75% don't make it through. Even if they do, they need years more experience in the field to even be considered for the elite squad that double-tapped bin Laden, Team 6.
By the time you get to 6, you're either going to overcome any weak points that you have in any of those disciplines, or you're going to wash out and say you're a good SEAL, but you're not good enough for this.
And Richard Morcinko would know. He started Team 6 in 1980. On missions, they may jump from a plane 11 miles up, sit in deadly silence trained to camouflage themselves to any environment, or hold their breath underwater for over 2 minutes without releasing a single bubble. The only thing missing seems to be the ability to leap a building in a single bound. And of course, they can shoot with pinpoint precision, For example, they rescued sailors from the Alabama Maersk, taking out pirates through an open window on a rocking ship from 120 feet away in the dark.
When you're doing hostage rescue, so you train hitting a 3x5 card over the forehead for the brain matter or the heart.
But for all their physical abilities, what Marcinko says really sets a SEAL apart, their most deadly weapon, is their mind.
The body's only tissue. The brain controls it, and the brain will push them beyond what you and I and normal people think the body can take.
You know, we keep comparing them to superheroes, but they're different from superheroes in a very important way. They're subtle. They're known for their reserved, unassuming nature, so that they carry out missions with calm. Now, Diane, why? Well, one big reason is that so the enemy does not know what it's up against until it's too late.
All day long, Martha Raddatz has been gathering details on the 40 minutes that changed history and tells us some of those key moments are different than we first thought.
The operation was called Neptune Spear, the mission to capture or kill bin Laden. But we learned today that the mission didn't quite go down as initially described. As the 25-man assault team landed in stealth-configured helicopters and spread throughout the darkened compound, gunfire quickly erupted and was sustained through the 40-minute operation, even as the SEALs climbed the stairs to the third floor. But when they came face to face with bin Laden, we learned for the first time today that the resistance that the White House had said bin Laden put up did not include a weapon.
He was not armed, is what I understand to be true.
Officials said today the resistance came from bin Laden's wife. First, they said she had been used as a human shield. Today, they say she made a threatening move. She was not armed either, but was shot in the leg. Bin Laden was hit above the left eye and through the chest.
The authority here was to kill bin Laden, and obviously under their rules of engagement, if he had in fact thrown up his hands, surrendered, and didn't appear to represent any kind of threat, then they were to capture him. But they had full authority to kill him.
Weapon or not, the SEALs in that split second had no way of knowing whether bin Laden was wearing a suicide vest or whether the room was booby-trapped. The SEALs always planned for the worst-case scenario. And tonight, the computer drives and DVDs the SEALs were able to grab from the compound are being described as a motherlode of information. The material was flown to Washington, where copies were sent to the CIA and FBI. A copy was also left in Afghanistan. Analysts are combing through all of it, although it is all, of course, in Arabic, so it could take time.
And sources familiar with the government's investigation tell ABC News that investigators are also looking into the two owners of the compound who were in the money-changing business in the hopes it may lead them to sources of al-Qaeda's financing.